Okay, so next up, yeah, go back to our chassis, have the full thing, have all the motors in there, 4 motors in place. We're going to move into the next step where we are going to build these kind of, I would call them gear meshes. We're going to build, basically, we have this hyper hub, we have this bevel gear, we have a shaft, we have a bearing, we have a collar on there. So I want to build this thing first, and then we'll put this together. One thing I would note on here is like I'm not going to include the shims. I just think that's important to include in the actual product. But in this case, for our design, it's not really going to be not going to be important for our level of precision. For maybe different applications later on, maybe do want that level of precision, but not for what we're going to do right now. So let me get all my parts imported. Again, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. Bevel gear, hyper hub, collar, shaft, bearing. Get those imported into OnShape, and we'll go from there. If I think everything should import smoothly, but if anything comes up weird, I will pause and show you. All right, first thing I came across as I am inserting my bearings, I'm doing the flanged ball bearing. Let's see, I just noticed there's a whole bunch of ones in here. Let's try and focus on getting this one that's flanged ball bearing. Should look like this one. Don't get any of these ones that are in progress. Yeah, so we're going to import this. Oh, okay, here's a good one too. We have some parts. You can see says doesn't use parts. Like these are the individual pieces that make up the ball bearing. But we actually don't want these individual things. I love these big helpful X's on here. We actually want to go over to the assemblies part. We want to see all those pieces put together into a single assembly. So here we want to import that thing. I'm going to import one of those, and then yeah, we'll go on. So again, I'll pop back if anything interesting happens. Otherwise, I'm assuming the other 4 pieces inserted smoothly. All right, so I didn't have any issue importing the other parts, just the bearing was a little bit weird. Yeah, so I got to make sure that I have all these in here. All right, next up, so I'm going to try and assemble these pieces together. I think for the most part, it's going to be pretty straightforward. This piece should be assembled fine. It's very similar to doing the dual blocks, or excuse me, using the quad blocks and motors. This will be require maybe a little special attention, so let me get this one done first. I'm going to get these 2 pieces assembled together, and then I'll check back in with you. Oh, I guess one thing here, just make sure that the teeth, this bevel gear, like the teeth are facing towards the hyper hub. So we want to grab this and just make sure that we do that, assemble that correctly. So I'm going to show you what it looks like in just a second. All right, good. So I got a little bit unlucky with the hole that I chose to fasten these together, and you might end up with something like this. So I'm going to take a second to address it here. You might end up with this where it's kind of like, I can't quite rotate them in the correct, it's just the way that they got locked together. Maybe if I chose a different hole to fasten, I could fix this and get it to rotate, but they're not, it's just, they're kind of off. It's rotating by 90 degrees. I really want it to rotate by 45. So I can do that with my offset over here. I can do, let's see, I can do my rotation angle about my X. Ooh, I actually want to do it around my Z, I believe. I want to rotate around Z. So again, I can kind of do an offset. I can like move it, manually move it a little bit. I can rotate around my X. And it's going a little bit too far. It's going 90 degrees when I really want to do 45. So we could try and do this. Let's see what we get here. So that should work. That's weird. It seemed like 45 wasn't. I ended up having to do 90. Negative 45. I don't quite get. Doesn't seem like it's moving at all here. When I do 0, let's see. Oh, okay, it is moving a little bit. So I just needed to move like negative 45. I just didn't see that. Okay, negative 45. So that might be something that comes up, like just based on the geometry of these things, we chose like the wrong 2 holes. It can be helpful to do this kind of offset. So another example of using offset in there. All right, so the rest of this will also be fairly straightforward. I'm going to code along. I'm going to show how I'm going to do it, but I think it's going to be straightforward enough for you. So maybe you can skip ahead if you know how to do this. But we're going to choose fasten mate. I'm going to choose the end. Just make sure I'm getting the center. Looks like that's in the center. I'm going to go choose up here. Make sure we're getting that center part. We'll hit solve. Great. So we have those 2 parts together. And now I want to put my bearing onto the shaft as well. Again, if we look on here, we can see that the flange part, like that kind of lipped part of the bearing, goes towards the collar. So we're going to go into here. We're going to grab that. Let's see. I'm going to grab this part, mate connector. Oh, so my fasten mate. I want to do this part here. Should match up with this center here, like that. All right, looks like it's a little bit on the wrong side. If we flip it, you can also see it, since it's an assembly, it's actually only taking the inner part of the bearing. If we hit solve, we'll get the whole thing there. I want to make sure those are flush, make sure there's no overlap. We hit check. All right, looks good. Okay, a couple other things on here. Let's see. I guess I'm just going to do fasten mates on this. There's different ways that we could do this. It might be a good opportunity to do like a slider mate, or actually I should say probably cylindrical mate. We could. This is just kind of a fun way to model this. Sorry, there we go. If I can grab the center of this, And if I do a cylindrical mate onto here, let's see, let's maybe cylindrical mate onto here. Let's see if we line them up correctly. Looks like maybe a little rotation is needed. Okay, that looks good. Solve, hit check. And then, yeah, so now we can grab this thing. Since they're mated together, we can now slide this, move this along the shaft, which is a little more like realistic to what our piece would actually look like. So we can actually have this slide up and down. We still have some degrees of freedom. We can still rotate this around. It looks like the whole part is moving with it. Which one are we doing? We did cylindrical. Yeah, so we should be able to rotate this. Anyways, I would say, let's see, we could do that. We could also, I think, so if we look at our design, maybe a little long-winded here. We want this, let's get this piece in line, and then we'll focus on how to get the bevel gear in here. We're going to get this piece aligned with the hole in my U-channel. So let's see, let me just do one, and I think I'll just show one, and that'll be enough. Let's grab this piece. I'm going to do a fasten mate. Let's see, where's this thing at? We're going to do a fasten mate. We're going to grab this part, this geometry, the circle on that flange is going to need to get mated to the outside of this U-channel. We just flip it. We hit solve to make sure it looks inappropriately in the appropriate spot. I think it looks good there. Say check. Everything looks like it's mated well. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is then we should get this piece and we're going to slide it along that. We could do a couple things in here if we really want to get this like married up just right. I might do something like, let's do a fasten mate on this part, fasten mate on this part. So I must not have gotten that correctly. I'm going to fasten these, and I want to have like a little bit of an offset so they're kind of appropriately and like roughly the right spot. All right, that's the center of that. So I can grab the center of this. All right, that looks better. I'm going to do an offset on this. So we hit solve. You can see they're kind of like totally scrunched in there. I want to move this along. Looks like, again, in the Z axis. So I'm going to do offset of Z. And let's do like 1. I just kind of, like, I don't need this to be exact. Looks like it should be -1. I don't need this to be exact, but I do want to get these teeth like approximately lined up. Like that's about right. I might do like 0.9 on here instead of full -1. Again, if we hit solve, we can see the full thing. Like that's, the teeth are kind of meshing in there. That's good enough for me for this level of accuracy. The last thing we have to do on here is get the other side in place. And then we'll make an assembly and yeah, and then we'll go from there. All right, yeah. So the last two pieces, I just need a collar and I need a bearing. I'm going to ignore the shim for now. We'll put the shim in place, or excuse me, we'll put the bearing in place. Then we'll put the collar based on the bearing, and that'll be it. So let me see. I can probably. I already have those pieces already, so let me just go back into my chassis and let me find those two pieces. Let's see. I need that. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to copy and paste my bearing. I have both of those, so I'm just going to get these located in place. And again, I think at this point, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup here at the end with some assemblies, but if you feel like you have this part down, you can skip into where I'm doing the assemblies. Just maybe another minute from now. Get these lined up. I'm going to flip it. Looks good. Check. And then I just need to get my bearing, or get my collar in the same spot. Do fasten. Where are we at? Oh, where did I lose it? Okay. Might be making people seasick with this. All right, there we go. And then we need to get the center. Center that. Just gonna move. Solve. Check. Great. All right, so we have all that done. Now I want to make a gear mesh assembly. So just kind of like this whole gear piece, because I don't have to do that again for all of those, all the 4 different motors. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to find all the parts that kind of go together. I think I could probably do some cleanup in here in general. I think I want to make an assembly. I'm going to take all these pieces and I want to make a sub-assembly. So crossbar, all the frame stuff, let's put that into its own sub-assembly called like frame. I think there's a bit of an art to this. I don't think there's an exact science of organizing in here. but it's just nice to kind of have things like things together. And so we don't have so much stuff going on here. We have a lot of mates in here. Let's take a look. Next up, we're going to grab this. I think just all of these parts maybe kind of all go together. And we're going to make a subassembly. I think I need to zoom out a little bit here. We're going to make a subassembly. And we're going to call this, I'm just going to call this like gear mesh. Apply. Close. Okay, so now I have one of these. Again, I can make just 3 copies, and then I can, all I really need to do is just mount one of these, just get the flange bearing in the correct spot for each one. I might do that for one of these. Get the flange bearing in the correct spot, and then we're good to go, good to move on. I'm going to grab, so for this part, I'm going to grab the outside of this, and I'm going to put it right here. We're done. Just got to repeat that. Oh, the other one not coming. Oh, the other one didn't come with us because it's not, because it was fastened to this piece, right? Well, that's annoying, but actually it gives me a good chance to show you something on here. So I think I'll grab those 2 pieces. They are mated together. I just need to mate the bearing to here. It's a little bit annoying. There's ways I could probably fix this and make this gear mesh all one thing, but I don't think it's worth it. But I do want to highlight on here. All right, so I want to find that I can't find it. I can't find the little bearing and the collar. So I'm going to look in. I need to find out which gear mesh we're looking at. This gear mesh 2. If you see, you can see it's like silhouette. You can see it's highlighted, outlined. The one piece that's inside the chassis in the top right of the screen. And then also, if you look at the bottom left of the screen, down here, you can see that there is a gear mesh here. Or you can see that's the other part of the gear mesh here. And it looks like these all got stacked on top of each other. So there's a couple things we can do here. One, if we can't find something, like say I was way over here, and I'm like, well, where is this piece? Where's the gear mesh? I see this part. Where's my flange? I don't see this on my screen. If I hit right click, I can hit zoom to selection, and it will zoom over to wherever this thing is located on the screen. So if you lose a piece, really easy to find it that way. So these are the 2 pieces I need. They are kind of all stacked together in this thing. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to hide the other 2 gear meshes, and I just have this thing here. I can then go through and do fasten mate, grab this thing, and then we're going to go all the way over to here. We'll throw that in there. So, okay, and we have to just repeat that for the other 2, but not a big deal.